All right, so we've done Henry IV of France, the guy that started the Bourbon dynasty, had a moderate religious policy. We've done Philip II of Spain, a militant Catholic, and now on to Queen Elizabeth of England. Now, Elizabeth is an interesting character. She was never supposed to rule. She was the second child of her father, King Henry VIII. He is the one that turned England Protestant, founded the Anglican Church, the Church of England. Now, when Henry VIII died, the throne went to his third child, his son Edward. But Edward died very young without producing an heir. So then the throne went to Henry VIII's first child, a daughter named Mary Tudor, who was a devout Catholic and tried to make England Catholic again. In fact, she persecuted so violently she earned the nickname Bloody Mary. Now, Mary, she passed away without any heirs as well. Right? Interesting side note: Bloody Mary was married to Philip II, King of Spain, most Catholic king. Keep that in the back of your mind. Anyway, so Mary dies without any heirs. So then the throne goes to Henry VIII's last living legitimate child, which happened to be Elizabeth. Now, luckily for England, Elizabeth was a bright young woman. She was well educated, spoke multiple languages, was highly intelligent, and is going to turn into quite a skilled ruler. And so she inherits a kingdom that's been in turmoil. First, her father turned it into a Protestant country, the Church of England, but it was very mild Protestantism. Most of the rituals were still very Catholic-like, actually. And then under her younger brother Edward, it became more Protestant. But then under her sister Mary, if you remember, Mary tried to make it Catholic again, and so she's inherited this kingdom that's seen a lot of turmoil, particularly religious turmoil. So she embarks upon a moderate religious policy. Elizabeth is going to be Protestant, but not a radical Protestant. The Protestantism under the Church of England, under her guidance, will be very much like her father's. It will be very Catholic-like in some respects. If you visit a Anglican church service or even an Episcopal church service here in the United States, it's very ritualized, which is traces of Catholicism. It's very moderate. She will be declared the official head of the Church of England through the Act of Supremacy. So even though it's very Catholic-like, is not Catholic because the Pope is not in charge. Also, in the Church of England, priests can get married. They're actually encouraged to get married, and there are only two sacraments, that of marriage and of communion. Now, even though she had a very moderate religious policy, Catholics were executed during her reign. To be fair to Elizabeth, some of those Catholics were also involved in plots to have her assassinated, because religion and politics was all mixed together back then. And there were multiple plots to have her assassinated. There were plots to have her assassinated and have her cousin, Mary Queen of Scots, put on the throne, for instance. So yes, Catholics were executed, were mildly persecuted, but compared to the other monarchs of the time, her religious policy was quite moderate. Basically, if you kept your Catholicism super duper secret and you paid your taxes and you never tried to kill her, good chance you could probably get away with it. She also had a moderate foreign policy. She tried to avoid war whenever possible. Her father, Henry VIII, was not like that. Very macho, right? But she thought war usually was stupid and at the very least expensive. So tried to avoid it as much as possible. But eventually she's going to get sucked into war. Anyway, into conflict. See, if you remember, England supported the Dutch of the Netherlands in their rebellion against Spain. One reason was business. England was a major business partner with the Dutch, so supporting the Dutch made good financial sense. Also, there was security. The Netherlands is right here, right? And so Spain was ruled by Philip II, this ultra Catholic militant who hated the fact that England was now Protestant. And so the English figured if Spain ever gets the Netherlands under control, that he used the Netherlands as a launching pad for an invasion of Protestant England. So there's some security reasons as well. And there are religious reasons. The government of England was Protestant. Most of the Dutch rebels were Protestant. So you had a religious reason, you had security reasons, you had financial reasons for the English to support the Dutch. And eventually, Philip II, he's going to get so angry with the English, he's going to try to invade. He's angry at England for supporting the Dutch. He's angry that English privateers, which are basically glorified pirates supported by the English government, are raiding Spanish ships throughout the Atlantic and the Pacific. He's also angry that Elizabeth rejected his marriage proposal, which who can blame her? Because remember, Philip II was also married to Elizabeth's older sister, Mary Tudor. So that's kind of weird. Also, he was mad at Elizabeth because Elizabeth executed Elizabeth's cousin, Mary Queen of Scots, who was a Catholic. But to be fair to Elizabeth, Mary Queen of Scots tried to have her assassinated after Mary Queen of Scots tried to blow up her husband because her husband married her favorite dwarf. Long story. So Philip II decides, all right, we're going to do it. And in Philip's mind, he's going to win because God is on his side. Even though Philip's military advisor said, don't do this, this is a bad idea. It's really hard to invade England because it's protected by water, because it's protected by the English Channel. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. He's like, we're going to do this. God is on our side. So he assembles his huge war fleet, an armada. It just means war fleet. It was nicknamed the Invincible Armada. And the plan is for this armada to set sail, pick up Spanish soldiers in the Netherlands, sail into England, invade England, overthrow Elizabeth. And in Philip's mind, the people of England will be so happy not to be ruled by a woman, for one, and also to be rid of Protestantism, that they would welcome him gladly. And of course, all of that was horrendously wrong. So it's really hard to invade England because it is protected by waters. It's on an island. Right? There's a reason why no one's invaded it since 1066 A.D. Right? But the plan is for the fleet to sail, right, pick up the Spanish soldiers from the Netherlands, and then invade England. So on the screen here, you see the route that it took. The Spanish Armada sailed from Lisbon, where modern Portugal is today. And then they sailed through the English Channel. They stopped at Calais. Now, the whole time they're going through the English Channel, they're pursued by the English fleet. But the English fleet can't get to them. The Spanish ships fly in this defensive formation. It's like crescent formation. It's very hard for the English ships to attack. They're just following them, basically. Well, eventually the Spanish ships dock at Calais. You can see it right by a place called Gravelines. And then the English get smart. They fight dirty. In the middle of the night, the English take some of their ships, fill them with gunpowder, light them on fire, and have them sail into the Spanish fleet that is docked at Calais, which sends the Spanish fleet into turmoil, as you can imagine. In the middle of the night, they see these flaming ships full of gunpowder sailing towards them. The ships are exploding. The Spanish fleet picks up anchor and they flee. Okay? Now, it didn't really damage any of the Spanish ships, but the Spanish ships are not in that defensive crescent formation anymore. It's chaos. So then the English attack at Gravelines. And at Gravelines, finally, the English ships can do the work. Now, the English ships are smaller than the Spanish ships, but the English ships are faster, they're more mobile, and probably more importantly is the English have better cannons. Their cannons can shoot further than the Spanish cannons, and they're more accurate. So the English can fire at the Spanish ships while the Spanish ships cannot fire at the English ships. So the English win the Battle of Gravelines because of this. Now, they only sink 3 of the Spanish ships. Most of the Spanish get away, but now the Spanish are stuck. They can't go back down the English Channel because the English ships are blocking it. So they've got to sail all the way around, right, around Scotland, around Ireland to get back home to Spain. And that's where the damage actually happens. This huge storm strikes the Spanish fleet off the coast of Ireland, destroying most of the Armada. What is left limps back into Spain. The Armada has been annihilated. Philip can never, ever invade England. This was a huge blow to his ego because he thought God was on his side. He even reportedly said, I sent my fleet to fight the English, not God and the waves. This devastated him. For the English, though, this was a huge victory. They claimed God was on their side and sent a fleet to destroy, or sent a storm to destroy the Spanish fleet off the coast of Ireland. And this painting of Queen Elizabeth, it celebrates that victory. You can see in the background there's a painting of the Spanish ship sinking beneath the waves, and Elizabeth's hand is on the globe, all right, on the earth, basically. This is mine now, all right. And this really marks the beginning of the English starting to take command of the high seas, which they will maintain for the next few centuries. Right? So to review, Elizabeth, of course, her country is England. Her religion is Protestant, but it's a very moderate version. And they supported the Netherlands, which led to the Spanish Armada trying to invade them, which led to the Spanish defeat. And this is important. I didn't talk about this, but this will be important later. Elizabeth never married. In fact, she was nicknamed the Virgin Queen. She never got married, therefore she never had any children, therefore she never had any heirs. That's going to cause some problems for England when she passes away, but more about that story later.